always watching me. I feel just like a TV.
Yeah.
Be young.
Before Kahush will collaborate with the likes of Chris Kaiga, before he would be hosted by the likes of Jelas, The Trend, and numerous podcasts, before Kahush will go on to amass 70,000 subscribers on YouTube, before he will get millions of views on his music videos, before he would get hundreds and thousands of play on Spotify, who was Kahumburu and how did he get to the top? This is Before the Fame Kenyan edition. So how did the son of a cabinet secretary end up rapping his way to the top? Let's find out. Welcome back to Before the Fame KE, and if you haven't watched the previous video of the rise of Lil Minor, please do, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Kahush's musical journey started when he was just 10 years old. Kahush grew up in a household consisting of two brothers and a sister who both loved music, and this inspired him to make music. Kahush has mentioned on several occurrences that his musical influences included Kanye West and J. Cole, and also the likes of Issa. And actually, if you listen to the sound of Kahush, you can see these influences come out. Just like regular African parents, Kahush's parents were not on board with his music, and they urged him to continue with his education to support his future. Kahush grew up around Kilimani area in Nairobi and went to primary school in St. Mary's. Kahush was multi-talented in school and he was good in football and music. Kahush later moved to high school at Brookhouse International School, and in Brookhouse is where he developed his love for rapping, and it even got him in trouble. Kahush's family was musically talented. It had producers and artists like the likes of Kagwe Mungai, who is already a big deal in the music industry in Kenya. Kahush and Kagwe used to mess around with music, and this is where he got his inspiration to perform music professionally, as Kagwe Mungai had a recording station in his house and Kahush would frequently visit him and mess around with the sound. Dear listener, let me take you back a little. While Kahush was at Brookhouse, he was chosen to go to the UK because of his football talent, and that is where he started recording music professionally and posting it on his SoundCloud. Kahush started rapping on the record of his mobile phone, and he would let his friends listen to see if it was good or bad. He even played his records to his mom, who said that he should just focus on his education as the music was not going to pay off. The first instance we saw of Kahush musically was an EP that Kahush released on SoundCloud, and it appeared at around 2018, and that was titled Never Too Deep, Never Too Late, which had a total of 7 tracks and included songs like Dream Chasers featuring Cobbs, who by the way is a Kenyan underground rapper who has been known by now, and which takes me to my next point.
The king, I'm moving fast while sitting. If you can't catch me, then dripping. I keep my style just dripping.
Dear listener, 2018 was a wild time in music to the Kenyan music industry. Gengeton was coming up, drill rap was just being recognized by Kenyan artists and was being introduced to the Kenyan market, and hip-hop had started to actually make sense. Before that, hip-hop artists like Calligraph Jones and Octopizzo were the only big hip-hop names in Kenya, and maybe the likes of King Kaka. The underground rap scene was just starting to take off and included rappers like Cobbs, Sabi Wu, Ruguru, that Kahush featured on his EP frequently and also later featured on his future albums. At the time of this recording, Never Too Deep, Never Too Late EP has an average of 7,000 plays per song, but Kahush revealed that at the time of its release in 2018, it was only averaging a total of 1,000 views the whole year. In 2019, Kahush released another tape, or rather another mixtape, titled Trial and Error, which included 7 songs. This is the tape that had his famous song that made him popular, Misiwezi.
Vile shorty yako box, they telling me to stop. Every time we step up on the scene, we make it pop. Yeah, Misiwezi.
The song had done well that at the end of the year, he released the video of Misiwezi, which I can only say sealed things for him in the music industry and made people know him as a rapper in Kenya. In the 7-song project, Kahush's favorite songs were Slow Kisses and Enemy, which he later explained that they were titled because of heartbreak, as he was in a relationship with someone that had broken and at that time he was hurting. The following year, Kahush dropped an album titled Nico with 10 tracks. But before we get to this, dear listener, by this time, Kahush had already started getting gigs to perform and his fan base in Kenya was growing. But dear listener, let me remind you, it will only get better from here. The Nico album that Kahush dropped in 2020 had songs like Sipping featuring Jerome, Selfish and Double Double. Kahush did not drop any video for this project. Although he shot music videos for Double Double and Under Pressure, but they never saw the light of day for unknown reasons. Songs like No Pressure and Selfish did fairly well, but fans really loved Double Double, which at the making of this video has a total of 113,000 plays on Spotify alone. Dear listener, 2020 was a pretty sad year to many Kenyans and people all over the world, as COVID-19 had hit and people were forced to go back to their homes and businesses were forced to close down, and the music industry in general was not affected, but it was also affected. But for Kahush, this was the year that will change things for him, as this was the year that he got known by the Kenyan music industry, although it was not just for the right reasons, but also for the wrong reasons. Kenyans were introduced to Kahush's father Mutahi Kagwe in COVID-19 government briefings, as he was the CS of health in Kenya. This built up curiosity and introduced fans to Kahush's father and also to Kahush to the people who did not know him and to all Kenyans at large. Dear listener, this got out of hand as even reporters were asking his father Mutahi Kagwe about his son and if he knew his songs, to which he responded very fairly saying that he did, and this brought the attention to Kahush's music, which at this point it was just beginning to take off. By that time, I wondered how did this affect Kahush and how it made him feel, but he later responded in an interview saying that it was a hard time for him and his family, as people were attacking him and saying that his music was being recorded by taxpayers' money, and other people saying that he only did music for fun, while others saying that the money they got was from the government, and even attacking his father and attacking him in general on Twitter. For example, at this one time, Kahush and his friend had been arrested partying during curfew hours, which was prohibited by that time in Kenya, and his dad was asked on live interview what he thought about Kahush being arrested. The fame that Kahush was getting was coming with all negative and positive glamour, but Kahush focused on music, and for the first time, he teamed up with known-musician Chris Kaiga to drop a single dubbed Masingo.
Nairobi City chief for Masingo.
Just let me know. He pushed in.
This took the whole country by storm as it became an instant hit. It seemed as if everything that he was touching was turning into magic, and this was true. Masingo went on to be huge and even landed him an interview with Jalas on Jalango TV, The Trend, and many more podcasts. On this podcast is where he explained that at some point it got messy and people started throwing shots at him, but this side, people grew an interest about who Kahush was, and even it made his name bigger just because of fans who were pushed by curiosity. At the time of this recording, dear listener, Masingo has amassed 3.7 million views on YouTube and 566,000 plays on Spotify alone. To an upcoming Kenyan rapper, this was big, and the hip-hop community as large was forced to take notice of this kid who was making big news and big waves and big numbers. And he even developed a nickname, Master Masingo. Following the success of Masingo, Kahush got many shows and club appearances both in the UK and in Kenya, and the crowds were always going crazy as this was a trap song. With this also came commercial success as Kahush was actually making money of his music. Dear listener, let me take you back in time. Kahush was enrolled to the University of Nottingham in the UK after his studies at Brookhouse. And all this time, Kahush was balancing music and education as he was majoring in political science and international relations. So between shows and albums, he returned to the UK to often continue with his studies. Dear listener, by this time, you have to take note that Kahush drops songs that are dear to him and that have close meaning to his fans. And he sticks to his own style of music, and he has remained unfazed and doesn't insist to drop projects because of fame or because of clout. You might also have noticed that he drops projects rather than singles and single songs, and he doesn't tend to release music videos oftenly. This style of music has made Kahush stand out as one of the people in the industry who are not fazed or moved by the fame or moved by the trends, as he sticks to his type of music and to his way of rapping, whether he is accepted or not accepted. Later the same year 2020, around December, Kahush dropped another album which was titled Wanted in Nairobi. Following the release of Masingo, fans were curious to know what Kahush was up to next, and so Kenyans were forced to listen to this album, and it got large numbers. Kenyans were eager to know what he will do next. If it was any other artist, they would have capitalized on the fame to do collabs with different artists and to do things that had made them trend. But for the sake of this, instead, he dropped a project which he featured upcoming rappers like Cobbs, Steph the Rapper, and by this time, Cobbs was doing well for himself, but this is for another video. The project comprised of songs like Sana Up,
Fam is up, very up, Sana up.
Nyoka featuring Cobbs,
Goonies, we trapping. Nyoka 2, hey, ha. Nyoka 3, oh, ha. Nyoka 4, ha. We say fuck 'em all, hey.
What is Love,
There's something about this life that make you need more. I ask you what you want and what you're here for. See you leap at a form or do you need more?
and the project did well, and some of the songs like Sana Up gathered 240,000 views on Spotify at the time of the recording of this video. Another notable feature on the album was Boutros Munene, who was also doing well for himself, and the collab was titled Don't Speak, which also fans loved and took the Kenyan rap industry by storm. Let me remind you that Boutros was doing another type of rap which was called shrap, and these matched the fans of Kahush and the fans of Boutros to make trap fusion.
Hater suck a dick. Last my hit no miss. Us we chuck the roof. I'm not your dog, I'm a beast. I made this all alone.
Kahush released the much awaited video for Sana Up on January of 2021, and it was received well. One thing about Kahush is that he is authentic, and even you can tell by his videos. Sana Up will go on to be the only video from the Wanted in Nairobi project, but 2021 will be a massive year for Kahush. Kahush did features before dropping another album, such as Haga Karao featuring Benzema, a Gengeton artist, and Scam Cardinali from Wakardinali, a music group that did drill and rap.
Fika na form polisi mina ondoka. Hapa ni moto manguo yeah anatoa. Na vibe iko juu, Haga ni beautiful.
Another notable feature that he did was Just Friends with Karun, who was one of the oldest groups of hip-hop in Kenya, Camp Mula.
Feeding you this love, can you feed back? I'm giving you these kisses, can you kiss back? I only re-up so I can relax.
By this time, Kahush was getting commercial success with brands such as Fanta and Fresh, and this was a good time in his career. In the same year 2021, Kahush dropped an album titled If We Do Not Give Up, which was supposed to be named Such a Beautiful Death, but later the name changed to If We Do Not Give Up. The album was an instant classic with songs such as Ngori Season.
Yeah, I'm scheming. I see reason. I'm Satan Gory season. He popping Molly season. Shorty won't believe it.
And Looking Good, and at the time of this recording, Looking Good has 213,000 plays on Spotify, and Ngori Season has 164,000 plays on Spotify. Ngori Season visualizer was dropped not long after, and Looking Good also got its own video on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm scheming. I see reason. I'm Satan Gory season. He popping Molly season.
At the time of recording this video, Looking Good has a total of 217,000 views on YouTube. If We Do Not Give Up album was a pretty good one, and I had features from Xenia Manasseh on the song Sad Sad. Once again, Kahush had proved that he was staying true to his music and he was not wave riding to the fame that came with it. From 2021, things went quiet as Kahush returned to the UK to continue with his education. 2022 was a quiet year for Kahush as nothing dropped, but he remained an active user on social media and even got a deal with liquor brand Ballantine's. Fans assumed that he had decided to focus on his education for a while, a bit before making a return to music, and yes, he did. In 2023, however, Kahush made a comeback when he dropped a single titled Glock in the Lap, which was followed by album Uptown Chokora. Uptown Chokora was an instant classic, and the album went on to feature artists like Brida, who was ruling the airwaves at the time of the release, and also Boutros Munene made a second appearance on the song Stoned. We also saw rapper and close friend Cobbs on the song Sue Me. However, just like its predecessors, Uptown Chokora was not promoted violently by the rapper, as he let the music speak for itself. The numbers on Uptown Chokora declined from the predecessors like the likes of Nico and Wanted in Nairobi, with the highest song only doing 67,000 plays on Spotify, and that was Stoned featuring Boutros Munene. This number was fairly good, but not as good as the other albums. Also, the album did not have any videos dropped on YouTube. The next we saw of Kahush was early this year, 2024, when he dropped Who Was Strong, a video on YouTube by now which has 11k views and counting.
Nairobi pimping. You don't understand.
Kahush will always be in the conversation when talking about trap music in Kenya. His originality and the love for Kenyan culture will always make him stand out. True fans of his music know what they have and they don't need validation at all from clout chasing. Whether you know him as an artist or Mutai Kagwe's son, he has an eye-catching performance and a mastery of his craft. We wish him nothing but the best in his music career. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and follow my socials at btf.ke. And if you haven't watched my previous video of the rise of rapper Lil Minor, please head over to my YouTube channel and watch the video. Thank you and have a nice time.